Last time we left off, we did the summer vacation beach vibes. We met Igus. We had a moment with Takiba. It was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. We got to start with the banger though. We got to start with the banger. We didn't play that yesterday. Wait, Roxas, have you done the Convergence mod? Or has anybody here played the Convergence mod? Nah, haven't done any Souls mods. Neither have I, but this one looks really good, Roxas. Like, it doesn't look like it's too different from the base game. It's like a DLC, basically. Banger! You know it, Roxas. Spend my time getting every Souls game achievements. Yeah, I'm not that try hard in any solo player, single player game. I got the Dark Souls trilogy, Elden, and Night Rain completed. Holy! What about Bloodborne and Sekiro? Lock in. Okay, I think we just made it back from the beach, actually. I played every Souls games through the years. But you didn't 100% Bloodborne and Sekiro? What would you say is the easiest Souls game? Let's see what you have to say there. Let's see what you got to say there. I remember Demon's Souls when it first, well, Roxas, how old are you, bro? How old are you? How do you remember Demon's Souls? I do not. I never recall Demon's Souls until after Dark Souls 2 was announced. 27? How? You're only 2 years older than me. Yo, how? Who do you have older siblings? That's what it is. You have older, so you have to have older siblings. There's no other way. Look up in the sky. Why? Lives. I don't think I've gone to Tartarus in a bit, so let's go do that. Nah? Yo, how did you find out about Demon's Souls, bro? What? That makes no sense to me. There are school printouts and newspapers slipping his hand up. Don't take from the fridge without permission. If you do, be sure to make it for it. Look for it. Wait. Looks like there are new additions to the dorm rules. Can I not go to Tartarus today? This is a perfect day to go to Tartarus. I can't go to Tartarus. Man, let me go to Tartarus, bro. Alright. Well, if that is the case, remember the PSN and Xbox hack back in 2000? No, in 2009, I didn't know how to access online with PlayStation on my PlayStation 3. So we only played offline. Lizard Squad? I don't remember. 2009. I think back then I was just like watching WWE, wrestling, and Tom and Jerry. That's what I was doing back then, probably. Got me feeling old. Yo, we are literally 2 years apart. Pernissa. What kind of game is Persona? I fuck with the music, but I don't know where to start with the series. That's a really good question, Intense Gambler. You want to start with well, it depends on the type of gamer you are. If you want to, these games aren't in order. Like they're not connected.
It is morning.
Holy, who is that? These games aren't connected at all, Gambler. So you can play each one individually. The thing is, the older games have less, like, to them. But this is a, like, revamped version of the original Persona 3. So you could either start with Persona 3 Reload or Persona 5. That's what I started with. It's a really long game, but it's and the way you think about it, Intense Gambler, is it's a story game with like having to do with like just real life stuff. So think of like a slice of life that you get to control. Like you can romance people. You have deadlines with fighting bosses. Like you have to be prepared before that deadline, or you like fail the game. So you gotta like manage. It's like living life, but like with the problem of like bosses with like shadows and demons, basically. Back during the hack, I found out about Demon Souls after browsing the store. I got you get your ends kicked, and was stubborn and somehow beat it. Then continued from each Souls game from there. Wow. Nah, not me. I didn't understand what I was doing back then. Hell, I even remember taking part in the Dark Souls 2 network test. Yeah, I didn't know how to get a part of Dark Souls 2 network test, but I was playing Dark Souls 2 PvP.
I request that you wake up.
Whoa. What if I don't want... She actually by my side right now.
Successfully awakened.
Mission complete. Are we serious? My alarm clock?
It has not triggered yet. 5 minutes early is on time. That is the phrase posted on the wall. So I woke you 5 minutes before your alarm clock engages.
Which wall?
Hey, are you awake?
I wonder if, as time goes on, she's gonna, like, sound more and more human and less like a robot. I'm gonna say it. Dark Souls 2 overhated. I completely agree with you, Roxas. I think the PvP in Dark Souls 2... I didn't really do much PvP in Dark Souls 3, but I think the PvP in Dark Souls 2 was, like, actually some of the best PvP. But the story and, like, game layout wasn't the best. That's, like, the only problem. It's the most fun to go back through with a friend and has good lore. I don't think the lore is as good as Dark Souls 1 or Elden Ring. But it might be more fleshed out in Bloodborne and Sekiro. And Dark Souls 3 is a continuation. I don't know. I don't know if Dark Souls 3... I only played Dark Souls 3 like 2 times. So, I don't know.
That girl disappeared and we can't find her anywhere. Can you help us? She might have gone out on her own like she did in Yakushima.
My name is not that girl. Please address me as Aigis.
Hey, you tell him, Aigis.
Huh?
I don't like that she doesn't have feet, though.
Aigis? When did you...
I entered while he was asleep. Unlocking the door took 2 minutes.
Holy.
That's unlawful entry. Didn't we tell you to stay in the command room at night?
I determined that it is ideal to be on standby in this room. Is this a problem?
What? Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
Yeah, he
If
was
there is a
crazy
problem,
back then.
I will
Facts.
address it promptly.
Ooh, you tell him, Aigis.
The problem? Well, it's probably against dorm regulations for one. Look, don't just stand there. Tell her.
You can't stay here. You can stay here. I don't care. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like Aigis a little bit more than Takuma. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, come on. You know she's not allowed in here. Okay, look. I'll get a room set up for you on the 3rd floor so you can stay nearby. Just don't leave the dorm by yourself, okay?
I will do as commanded.
Yeah, okay. I'm tired. All right, well, I have practice this morning, so I gotta get to school.
W Archery.
Everyone here goes to a place called school in the morning. I comprehend.
Good word usages. Olé. Freaking TikTok, bro. Sup? It's so freaking hot today. So I've been thinking, after we defeat all the shadows and Dark Hour disappears, what's gonna happen then? Things will be peaceful. Huh? Well, yeah, but regular people don't even know about the Dark Hour to begin with, right? That means no one will ever know about anything we've done. I mean, I get it. It'd be a huge problem if they did, but it just kind of sucks, you know? It's interesting how much Junpei wants everybody to know. I think he probably didn't have a lot of attention from his family. I'm a psychiatrist. I understand psychology of the human psyche and why people do what they do. Like, him wanting attention for everything is bad. It probably has to do with how you grew up, bro. That's facts. That's facts, literally facts, bro. I understand the human brain. Yeah. The exam results are up. Scored the highest in my grade. Everyone is looking at me with respect. Okay, right? Come to think of it, Michiru promised to give me a gift if I scored low. I just talk to Michiru when I see her. She didn't actually say that this time. Lunchtime is almost over. I should get back to class. Let's go. Talk to Michiru this evening. Get my extra level ups. I'm gonna save it for Aigis. That's the end for today, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like Aigis. Like, I'm just gonna force myself to like her. Today's Friday. Ooh, we can hang out with Dude. Oh, we've actually already finished this one. So I guess we can start leveling up other things. Like this one. Let's see, if we'll level up, then I'll do it. Esto no.
I must so.
Let's freaking do it, man. Let's hang out, bro.
I think I am done for today.
Well, this is it. Like, this is like picking up exactly where we left off with his aunt dying. I think it was the aunt. Bro, this piano goes so hard. Yo, Roxas, do you know what the name of this song is called? I don't remember what it is. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. It's so nice. I need to add this to my chills playlist.
Could we go somewhere to eat
One
after
moment.
this?
Okay. Sure.
Merci. That means a lot to me.
Hey, no problem, baby.
There is something I need to talk to you about.
Please don't tell me you're moving back.
Hello. Where do I begin? I'm afraid I might have to go
I
back home
knew
soon.
it.
The only reason I was able to come here was because of my aunt. But my uncle did not agree with the decision.
Dang.
Get home now. Maintenant. Is he my uncle or the mafia? If I do return home, back to my uncle, I might never come back to Japan again.
No. You have to accept it. Memories of you living with determination. That's the name. I'm literally going to add this to my playlist right now because this song actually hits so hard. Ba da 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 da. Living with determination. Living. Yeah. Nah, this actually hits. Da 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 da. It's so good, bro. That's actually so good. Okay. I might never come back to Japan again. Just stay in Japan.
Do you mean it? I would love to stay. I want to dedicate my life to learning everything about Japan. Except, it does not matter what I say to him.
Thank you, Roxas.
I cannot afford to leave here without my uncle's help. And I have gotten to know you well. I cannot simply say, see you later, and leave you like this.
Maybe share the troubles on his mind. I feel like we're growing closer. Dang, baby. Level 5. We're leveling him up pretty fast, no
It's
cap.
almost time to say, see you later. Then I'll see you at the club sometime.
Dang, when I told him how to say goodbye, he's using the way I told him to say goodbye to me every single time. Foreshadowing. I parted ways with Bebe and went back to my dorm. Ole. See you later. But he won't actually see me later. That's the craziest, saddest part about it. How was your day? By the way, how did you fare on exams? Pretty bad.
Well,
Oh, well, it is still just the first semester. You'll be alright. That reminds me, Kirijo Senpai was top of her class again. I mean, where does she find the time? She's unreal.
Excuse me.
In 2 weeks, the moon will be full again. Dude, those freaks with apathy syndrome will be everywhere. Wait, I mean, the lost. I mean, I feel bad for the victims and all, but seriously, it's like there's no end to them.
That's a negative.
Technically speaking, there is an end to them. 6 shadows remain. If we can eliminate them, the dark hour will vanish. Yeah, that's true. So, what you're trying to say, Aigis, is that fighting is more important than studying, right? I agree 100%. Holy. But wait, can I go to Tartarus today? Oh! Sorry.
Oh. Excellent.
Technically balanced schoolwork as well for In that place at the top of the exams, I also get the Mega Master Band. Yo, what is that? The luxurious gold band boosts all attributes. Yo! Yo! That's got to be the best thing ever. Alright, bet. Now we're literally cheating. So, I think Akihiko's here, but like, do I really want to hang out with her? I don't really care to level him up. What? I'm gonna say the game right here. Oh, I have no money. Perfect. Well, I could go hang out with Akihiko, or I could just go straight to Tartarus like right now. And level everybody up. Wait, but is Aigis on the team yet? Hold on. Should I wait for Aigis to be on the team? What? Aigis is on the team. Wait. Well, let's actually go to Tartarus. Well, we're actually gonna go to Tartarus. I want to get Aigis. I want to see how she plays. See what to put on who.
As of today, I will be joining in the operations to explore Tartarus. I am ready for deployment.
Okay.
I have also been equipped with a number of combat functions, in addition to the ability to summon a persona. I will provide more details later, but suffice to say, you won't want to miss it.
Looking forward to it. Can you transform?
Currently, I am not outfitted with any functions that enable me to morph or transform. I apologize for being unable to meet your expectations. However, I am prepared to undergo modifications if the situation demands it.
Holy.
Our current objective is the elimination of the large shadows that appear during a full moon. In order to accomplish this, it will be crucial to gather combat data in Tartarus. Please make efficient use of my facilities so that we may achieve our goal.
I will do that. When Aegis third G gauges max her third G, Orgia mode can be used. What? Heavy pierce damage, ignoring resistance and command for a time. For a time? What? Once Orgia mode is activated, Aegis will automatically attack during her turn for 3 rounds unprompted. During Orgia mode, her attack and defense will increase significantly. Keep in mind that once Orgia ends, Aegis will overheat, rendering her immobile for her next turn. Very interesting. The card in my hand is reacting. Multiple major arcana cards have been added to the shuffle time. Hierophant, the level of your current equipped persona will increase by 1. Lovers, increase social links bonuses for persona fusion until you leave Tartarus.
I've been waiting for you.
May I have but a moment of your time?
If I may say so.
While awaiting your arrival, I sense something shifting within Tartarus. A number of strange doors have appeared there, it seems. Where these doors lead, whether this bodes ill or well. Even I do not have that knowledge. However, I believe you have the wherewithal to find out. Take the leap. You may discover something useful. I can do that. Excellent. I have faith in you. Those who... that laugh. Those who challenge the unknown, choosing risk over comfort, often achieve greatness. I believe such challenges necessarily facilitate some form of growth. Holy words. Your courage will lead to your betterment. Ace, I sincerely hope you will continue to act on it. New Deadlock update looking weird as hell. Sub Toilet Goblin? Yes, it does look a little weird. But hey, new characters drop. Something weird's going on in Tartarus. These doors, should I go investigate? For sure, maybe.
Good day.
Good day.
Are you accepting a let's hear the
Let's hear the results. May I have one?
Oh my. House.
Like, should I have given her something different?
Very well then.
Okay, can I fuse anything? Maybe? And then I think I'm gonna put Aegis on my team for,
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
I think I'm gonna put Aegis for Mitsuru.
Now then.
What kind of persona do you desire?
This persona is powerful.
Nah.
This would be a wise choice.
I mean, that's actually pretty good. Wait, do I have everything, registered?
Registering
Nope.
personas? Is overriding acceptable? All registered.
Ah, have you all the elements you need?
The craft mid can't lie. What does that even mean? A craft mid? What is that?
Well then.
Well
Shall we take
then.
a
This would be a wise choice.
Narcissus. Minecraft is mid? Yo! I could have told you that.
Is this acceptable?
The game has the same thing. Like, the
This
only
person,
thing that
yes.
makes Minecraft still worth playing is the mods, but I don't feel like looking for mods. So I just have no desire.
Is this acceptable?
Is this acceptable? I don't know.
Is this acceptable?
I mean, you have 21 magic. Oh, it tells me what I'm gonna
This
use.
persona, yes?
Holy. I want a character with a
Is
lot of
this
magic.
Is this acceptable? Is this acceptable?
20 is pretty good,
Is this acceptable?
but I don't have the priestess leveled up
Is
at
this
all.
acceptable?
Yo, can you quit asking me that question, please? I'm like, I never use these guys. I kind of like the priestess though. The priestess is looking pretty nice.
Is this acceptable?
Yo, stop. And I already maxed out the hanged as well, so I kind of don't need hanged anymore.
This would be a wise choice.
You look wise. Play me. They all trying too hard. It's the wrong two. They will have gear in 20 minutes, die, and do it again. Holy. They're just trying to end the game as fast as possible.
This persona is powerful.
1919. With Zio.
This would be a wise choice.
Nah, I don't think it's worth it. That's not that much increase in strength and yeah, nah.
This would be a wise choice.
Yo, I'm gonna have so much defense with this. I think I go this one though.
This persona, yes?
Magic.
What do you wish to inherit? At the start of battle. I don't think I need that one as much. I think I have somebody else that has 0. So I'm gonna go this one. Oh, I can go here. Oh, I can go 0 as well.
It seems no new powers have been bestowed upon you.
Like, give it to me.
Finally time.
Hi, Pixie. Let's go. All right, we're looking good.
Are you finished?
I am finished.
We look
All right, now let's climb Tartarus again with the new floors and whatnot. And we're also gonna put Aegis on there. Aegis on the team. 4.
Excuse me.
Barter currently has sufficient number of combatants. Would you like to remove someone else so that I may join? Mitsuru!
So I don't really know what she does, but we're gonna equip some things on her, hopefully. I can't switch out anything for her. Wait, can I look at her like anything? Infiltration outfit. Okay, well, I can't see your outfit here, but what we can do is look at her persona, I think. Oh, she's a higher level than everybody else. Nice. Arrow range, swift strike. She has good strength and so she has good defense and strength. Okay. Oh, she's good at buffing. Notify stat debuffs for all allies. Whoa. I like this. I like this. She's weak to electricity. That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. I like this. I like this. I like this. But she doesn't have as much strength as Yuichi. Yeah, yes. He has motherfucking 35, baby. She kind of just more defensive. Like, I look at hers. Persona. 22 magic. See, I don't even need all the magic because I got the magic. You feel me? I got the magic in me. Okay, well, since she's in the party, I can use my items now. Okay, so we got raises a persona's agility by 2. Can be used on an ally's persona. Okay, wait, I think agility just makes him go sooner. If I can make it to where Yukari goes more often to heal everybody, that might be really good, to be honest. Let me just make sure. What does agility do in Persona 3? Agility sort of determines your character's combat speed, influencing both how accurately you hit enemies and your ability to dodge their attacks. Oh. Well, I think Yukari being able to dodge everything would be pretty good, so she can heal everything. Wait. 17, 12, 18, 15. Yeah, we're gonna put it on Yukari. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Raises a persona's magic by 2? Wait, is this... Wait, is that how that works? Oh, no, I can't put this on him. I gotta put this on somebody else. But who? Who really needs the magic? Maybe Mitsuru. Raises a persona's endurance by 2, can be used on an ally. Okay, let's look at what... I think this, like, defense, like, the amount of damage they take. What does endurance do? Determines your defensive stat. High endurance reduces the amount of damage your character takes. $24 plus 2, so 26. Definitely Mitsuru. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna put magic on Mitsuru because my character doesn't need it.
19 plus 2. I mean, she already, like, doesn't get hurt. I think we put on Yuichi. Raises a persona's strength by 2. Let's go ahead and put this on Mitsuru. And then power. 21 plus 2 to 23. I mean, it's looking like she's going to be doing some strength as well. So having them both do good damage, or okay, Roxas, what would you do? Should I just make Junpei go stupid with the damage, or should I like even it out with Aigis? What do you think? Yes? All right. No. What? Junpei go crazy. Okay. Go crazy. And then I think I got another one all the way down. Oh, I don't. I could have sworn I had another thing here. Raises persona's agility by 1. Okay. Okay, we're actually cooking. Okay, we're actually cooking. Let's go. Stack the damage. Yeah, he's really about to hurt somebody. He really about to hurt somebody for real. Let's move it, baby. Yeah, I think today's gonna be a Tartarus day. It ends now. There's no dead. Could you check? Okay, there it is. Please watch out. Show me something new. Looks like they're shaking us aside. Everyone, all that we can go forward. Let's go. Wait, she's already almost maxed out. What?
All clear to proceed.
Oh, look at this place. Okay, I like this place a lot more. Dang, she goes this early? Holy.
Now's the time. Pull the trigger.
The strong one. Be on your guard. Situation.
They won't lose.
Of course, of course. Weak pierce damage to all foes. Well, since we'll do this one. Resist. And I inflicted freeze. Holy. Let's go. Oh my, Junpei. Okay, let's see if we can find your weakness. What is it called? It's called a creation relic?
Take a little more time.
What to do?
Like this, Lord. There's no way fire is gonna be the thing, right? Be resistant to fire. I feel like bash could be the item. But we'll try Zio. Okay, you're resistant to that as well.
Summoning. I am Aigis, the last of the anti-shadow suppression weapons. Preparing to eliminate all hostile targets. Palladium, activate!
Yo! I love Aigis.
Detected.
Holy! Not gonna lie, that was actually really tough. That was tough. Okay. I had a feeling they were gonna be weak to that. Every time you get a new character, the next person is weak to that item. So I didn't want to do it on. The heck?
The atmosphere here has changed.
What the heck is happening with his layout?
In this situation,
Easy flash.
this should end it.
It's too bad she didn't have like a buff item. I would like some money, please.
We did it.
We did it!
Going pretty well.
That did go pretty well. Holy 3,000? That is a good amount of money right there. I'm not gonna lie, this map is kind of throwing me off a little bit. I go this way? The heck? Yeah, I don't like the way this setup is. There's like a lever somewhere? How do I go higher? What the I think I gotta hit it from the back to do that. That didn't work.
This is our opportunity. I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time. Hurry, I'm not put down.
Well, that's pretty good.
It didn't work. Let's finish. Here we go.
She's doing her big one. She's being really useful right now. We're just killing everything. I think Junpei's doing the majority of the damage in the all-out attacks. But like, hey, Yukari is getting stuff done.
Nailed it. Nice going, Junpei.
Malachite. Okay. Is it this way?
Down the stairs.
Yeah, this area looks so weird to me. There's some kind of machine. I wonder what is powered by. Explore the floor, find a locker treasure, find a rare shadow. Rare shadow. So going straight, that's the next place.
It's a rare shadow.
We got the upper hand.
Take it down if you can.
I'm gonna get some ice cream to look. All right, bet.
I won't lose. It didn't work. 2 enemies down. Shall I take charge? You're in.
Hey, to the rescue. Let's see.
Bam. Bam, bam, bam. How does that miss, bro?
What's the plan? Suck on that. This guy's the last of them.
Junpei-kun, fight down 2 enemies. Activating. Laser, move out.
61. I don't know if there's like any way for us to actually kill this dude. Please land. I keep forgetting it blocks that ability. Nice. Well, let's just go ahead and get out of here, bro. We're not gonna kill this dude.
You see that coming?
Yeah, see you later, bro. That's
It's a win for the team.
I'm not gonna use my special abilities on that thing, bro. F that guy.
Good job, everyone.
Ooh, shuffle. Level of your currently equipped persona has increased by 1. Very good.
Now then, resuming exploration.
It's like the whole floor is already like. That's a big dude right there. Now go ahead and turn around.
Could be in for one nasty fight. What's the plan?
It's so funny how she runs like that, bro. What you doing if Shotty yell out Persona while getting
Stay on guard.
Persona? I don't know what I would yell out. I don't know what I would do actually. I would probably laugh, to be honest. Hooray! Maybe.
Yes, this is your chance for an all-out.
I can handle it.
Shall I take charge?
It's all you.
It is time.
I'll show you my power. Persona, engage.
Let's see.
Yeah, you're about to get hurt, buddy. Hate to break it.
I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
Can't stop me now.
Look into my eyes. See how this one works? Resistant to that one. W confusion.
What to do?
Well, the execute.
Get ready.
Okay, let's see what
Now's the time.
just in case he does come back up or something. Wait, I need to heal my team. Man, they have no HP.
Ready to engage.
Let's see it.
Activated.
152 damage. Nice.
Give them heck.
Okay. Critical. Wait, that actually is really good. Well, that did more damage. I want to see her do another attack.
I have to do this.
Go ahead and heal everybody. And by everybody, I mean I'm going to singly heal Junpei first.
Thanks, dude.
Oh, that's a good heal.
Elaine, move out.
Okay, that wasn't really worth anything at all.
All enemies defeated.
Man.
Good work out there.
Man.
Hey, level up, baby! Okay, let's go ahead and heal everybody a little bit. Give it to me. Guard incense. Oh, that's one of the weird doors.
What?
think something new has appeared on the floor. It's nothing huge, but it'll give you another heads up where you're closer to it. Alright, let's go towards that door. I don't know what this is gonna give me, but it's gonna give me something. I don't know what it's gonna give me, but it's definitely gonna give me something. There's a teleporter to get back. Nothing here.
Found the stairs. Wanna head up?
Leader,
I think this device caused that tremor just now. Oh wait, is GTA 6 only a story game? Nah, it's probably gonna have multiplayer as well. At least I hope it has. It should definitely have multiplayer. It'd be like an updated version of GTA 5 roleplay for everybody. I think people are gonna be really happy with that. But it's not gonna come out to PC for a while, so I don't know if there's gonna be any modded stuff for it yet. And this device caused a tremor just now. So people are gonna still be playing GTA 5 roleplay for a while until GTA 6 comes to PC. The reading that I'm getting from this is similar to the one from the entrance. Shape is similar as well. Could it be a portal leading somewhere else? Better take a closer look. Something's different about this floor. Mini bosses? The clock, maybe like one on the first floor. There's a booklet in front of the clock. How convenient. The title on the cover reads Great Clock Manual. For those who seek to gain greater power from a common experience, to activate the Great Clock, a prerequisite quantity of twilight fragments is required. After an offering is made and the hand strike 12, then the Great Clock can be used. The observer shall then reach for the pendulum while picturing a recipient of the clock's power. Last day of the month, activity verified. The document seems to be from 10 years ago. The clock's hands are already pointed at 12. I might as well follow the instruction and picture one of my teammates. If you use a twilight fragment into Tartarus, an entrance to an entrance to a special dimension with a great clock may appear. The great clock grants a large experience boost to a teammate of your choosing, although you can only choose allies at a lower level than Ace. The greater the level difference, the bigger the bonus. Remember, the entrance will only appear after you use the twilight fragment, so don't be shy about using them. However, entrance to the great clock will vanish if you move to another floor, so be sure to use them when they appear. Well, that's pretty good. I don't really need that right now. What the? And then he kicks us out. Everyone all right? For a second, I lost all y'all. But then it was like, you just teleported here. Interesting. Come on! Give it to me! What an odd place. What do you think could be the deal with that clock? Seems like we could use it. If it seems like it'd be helpful, it'd be smart of us to make use of it. It doesn't seem dangerous. Maybe it'll actually have a positive effect on everyone. The entrance opens up again. Let's try it. Okay, so I'm level 27. Wait, they didn't jump up. Why didn't they go up in rank? They should have went up. That's weird. If you disconnect this damn device again, it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
All right, squad, move out.
this place is incredible.
Why am I?
It's like a
Why is that?
three-dimensional
Why do I
labyrinth.
attack like that?
It's so
When do I get to
Alright,
attack
let's
like
get
that?
going.
I don't understand.
I have to study hard too. It'd be so embarrassing if I get low grades.
We got ourselves a shadow here.
Oh, whenever I'm like blue like that, that's when I can do it.
I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
Um,
I'm still setting up.
I don't know what they're weak to anymore.
More time.
I think they're weak to ice. Oh, this is not good. Run into it, leaves a trail. Oh, man. Oh, never mind. That's these guys.
In this situation,
I thought they were gonna be hard. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
What's next?
Nice. Oh, it doesn't even matter. Junpei does enough damage.
Good job, everyone.
Okay, there's the level up, I guess. Sonic cannot learn any more skills. Please choose one to forget. We should revise one fallen ally with 50% HP, or... Yeah, definitely that one. Negate wind resistance of all foes for 3 turns. Wait, that's actually kind of good. But I'm not really making her a damage dealer. Wait, she has 28 magic. Wait, that could be pretty good. What do I get rid of for that though? Things are like on TikTok. I don't know if I want Windbreak. Is this Deadlock? Yo, there's no way you're saying this on TikTok as well. Holy.
And that's a wrap, folks.
There's no way we're talking like this on TikTok as well.
Enemy spotted. Awaiting orders.
There it is.
This is our opportunity. I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
They're weak to fire, probably.
I have to do this.
What's next? Go for it, Herbie!
Easy. No, what?
What's the plan?
How do you dodge that, bro? How we dodging that? Yo, quit trying to dodge things, dude. Behind my back. Social link bonus for Persona Fusion will increase until you leave Tartarus. Ooh.
Be gone!
Mmm.
We beat them to a pulp, as they say.
To a pole.
is that treasure?
Yes, it is. Oh my yen. This is why I come to Tartarus, bro. I don't care about anything else but the money for real. The money is what I want. Bro, do I even try?
Great.
Did I waste all of my freaking energy trying to fight those dudes where I just miss everything?
Pull the trigger. I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time. I have to do this. Help me.
Oh no!
Ow.
What's the
You
plan?
energy. I think I can use it now.
All right.
Very skilled.
Let's go ahead and just kill them all.
Last one. Let's finish this.
I'm my bad. Oh, it's weak to that as well? See, that's why you try other things. Pretty good. Okay, let's go see if we can kill that thing now.
Okay, let's keep on exploring.
Let's see if we can kill this little buggard. Where is he at?
Hey, isn't that one different from the others?
Okay, I missed. Whatever.
A rare enemy. It'd be great if we can defeat it.
Now's the time. I won't lose.
I'm not gonna use my theurgies on him.
Hooray! Current gun knocked out
Shall I
2
take
enemies.
charge?
You're up.
Fade to the rescue! What's next?
Bam, bam.
Summoning. This is my duty. That's the last one.
How does that miss?
You're doing great, I guess. 2 enemies defeated.
Oh,
That's a win for the team.
that's pretty freaking
Good
good.
job, everyone.
Ooh, extra all-out attack damage. Good, good, good. 4,000 HP.
All right then.
Okay, now they're a higher level than me. Holy.
Hey, let's loot that chest.
Let's go. Okay, let's keep moving. Down the way. Wait, this way. To victory.
Oh,
There's a strong enemy coming up a nearby floor. Let's be sure to pace ourselves.
oh, there's a treasure chest.
Let me just heal. They use a lot of HP fighting. Is there a way to like make me do less? Do less of that? Sorry, I gotta do this. Because TikTok wants to be a goober.
This is our chance to strike first. Go for it. In this situation,
Well, usually these guys are easy to confuse. Yeah.
Can't stop me now.
And then we'll hit you one of these. Resistant to that. Okay.
I'm still setting up.
Oh, you do plunge damage. Okay, let me do dark damage then. Mudo.
What is optimal?
Persona, engage.
Yo, we're actually doing a lot of damage. Oh, you got 2 turns? Hold on, we can't allow you to continue 2 turns. That just doesn't seem correct. Interesting.
Let's see.
They're actually doing a good amount of damage to him. Maybe fire? I'm just trying things to see what it's weak to.
Darkness seems effective here.
But the darkness didn't work though.
All enemies defeated. Good work out there.
Okay, let's keep on exploring. Have you gotten used to dorm life? Took me a while to adjust too.
Oh? You?
Oh, I shouldn't have done that, so I could have heard them talk. But his map is so confusing. I don't like the way this map is laid out.
There's a shadow.
Shadow, and then there's a chest over there.
I'm itching for some action.
I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
In this situation,
The enemy seems to be weak to your weapon.
Oh, my weapon.
Your current cannot play down. This should be a good test of your strength. But don't get careless.
Weak to ice.
The enemy's weak to ice. The freeze is solid.
I have to do this. Pull the trigger.
Get that out of here. Ooh, yeah. Ba 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 ba. Nice.
But not down.
And then you heal yourself. Perfect.
Let's see.
That's a knockdown from Junpei-kun. Greed isn't good on this one. You'll have to try something else.
Can't shift right now.
What's next?
Nice. Critical.
It's a knockdown from Junpei-kun.
Leave it to me.
I will handle it.
Show me some, Mikus.
Looks like fire will work great. Wind isn't good on this one. You'll have to try something else. Persona.
Let's go. Show me some, Mikus.
One target remaining.
You're doing great, Igus. 2 enemies defeated. Severe damage. Igus has taken heavy damage.
What to do?
Ba-da-boo, yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba- Oh, okay. I just.
That about does it.
It's over.
No shadows detected.
Goodbye.
I'll go. I have experience conducting solo. Can I heal her? Whatever. If I can I heal her? I can't heal her. You can heal Junpei though. Oh, okay. I need to start buying some health items because these dudes be hurting themselves. These dudes be in pain. Like, how do I even know that this is where the up is, bro? Ain't nobody see this. Ain't nobody see this over here. Ain't nobody see this over here.
Hello there.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you. The path ahead has been cleared. Also, this is for you. I collected your reconnaissance.
We gotta keep moving.
Yeah, she has really low HP. I just do that. I don't have to think about nothing.
Kinda scary when things are going too well.
A little bit, yeah. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder a smidgen, doesn't it? Oh, no, 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 no.
That shadow looks...
Let's do it, bro. F it.
I'm detecting a surge of power. Be careful. I have to do this.
All right.
Go for an electric shock.
Let's see.
I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
Doesn't matter. He's just gonna do damage no matter what. Critical. Critical strike right there. Disturbing the peace. Okay, that didn't really do as much as I would like. That behind my back. Another all-out attack. Okay, 229.
Activating. I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time. Palladium.
Palladium just does so much damage to herself. It's actually crazy. Ooh, I like the Lightstone.
What next?
To my another all-out attack. We're getting there. One more all-out attack should do it.
Can't stop.
Too late for Apollo. Junpei, you are the GOAT, bro. Actually. Bro's actually the GOAT. Okay, Mr. Beast, look in my eyes. Look into my eye, Mr. Beast. Huh. Dude, I don't think he'd be saying that one. Mr. Beast, look into
We
my
beat them
eyes.
to a pulp, as they say.
Mr. Beast, look into my eyes. I don't think that's what's being said. I don't think he's saying that right there. Mr. Beast, look into my
There's a treasure
eyes.
chest.
Behind my back.
If we ever got lost here, I'm afraid we'd never find our way out. Oh, God.
How do I get
Oh,
over
I
there?
can't stop thinking about it.
Like up here?
Hey, doesn't that chest look kind of...
Let's do it. Blaze Brooch. Reduce fire damage. Nah. My team good. My cheek bad. My cheek do stuff that your cheek wish he could. I don't like the way this map is laid out.
We got ourselves a shadow here.
My cheek do stuff that your cheek wish he could.
Time for a fight.
Yuji,
You already had
maybe
that.
they can use it now.
What next?
Hit them all.
Exceptional strike.
Let's just go ahead and get out of here. Let's just go ahead and get up out of here. I don't know why she's running in with a bow, though. That doesn't make any sense. Imagine running to a fight, like, head first at close range with a bow. Is that smart? It might not be smart.
Nailed it. Nice going, Junpei.
Mr. Beast, look into my... Where am I going? Yeah, I'm actually confused. Oh, the complete opposite direction over here.
Hey, let's loot that chest. I'm itching for some
Be
action.
careful. Yukari cannot put down. Yukari cannot put down. I have to do this. They won't lose.
Just so you don't hit nobody. good thing she's not weak to that. Ooh, yeah. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Critical damage. Get him out of here. Go ahead and get him up out of here. Baby. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Give me that money. And then get me out of here, bro. Yes.
We
Oh,
beat them to a
demonic
pulp,
number.
as they say.
Okay, now we're finding the exit. Now we're finding the exit. Okay, let me go around this way. Like, what are we doing? Oh, we got a boss.
Powerful enemy spotted. Please.
There's a skill of mine I'd like you to use. It's called Sylphid Aura. Sylphid Aura is a support skill that automatically raises defense and accuracy of the whole party at the beginning of combat. The effect duration lasts between floors, but will be cancelled after entering battle. It is best utilized before decisive battles and key encounters. It'll enhance everyone's abilities a bit at the start of battle. It might give you some peace of mind. How do I do that? Floor 77.
I've been waiting for you.
Holy. I don't know what she said, but I don't even care. How do I use that thing? Let me save the game because I don't want to have to deal with these goobers. Can I ask what the appeal is for this game? Never made sense to me. The appeal for this game is that you're playing through a story. It's also like anime. If you like anime, it's another reason why you'd like this game. It's a like anime type game. The music is really amazing. And it's like a story game. It's a story game. It's like why you would like Expedition 33, but there's more like character development. You build relationships with people. It's like life maxing, but in a video game. You interact with your party. You make them stronger so that they do more damage in the turn-based stuff. I like both E33 and anime. Maybe I need to give it a go. Do you also like music? If you like music, Expedition 33 and anime, you'll probably like Persona 5. It's just a story game with good music. Yes, that's turn-based. Yeah, very much so. Yeah. The only thing is that it's a long game, so if you don't like long story games, like Persona 5 is longer than Expedition 33 by a lot. So that is why you probably might not like it. But if you are okay with turn-based and you really like Expedition 33, you'll probably like Persona 5, like figuring out how to like level up your team to where they work better. Persona 5 on Game Pass. Yeah, if you have Game Pass, you can go ahead and try it right now. Like the reason why I'm even fighting all these little minions is because I'm trying to like how do I use her thing?
How are you?
All right, you want to boost your defensive speed, right? That'd be great. Let's go. Next fight better be easy. Might just do 5 to get to take. Yeah, Persona 5 is the way I got into the game, and then Persona 3 is an older game that just got revamped to like be more modern. So it's not as like there's not as much to this game as Persona 5, at least as far as I've gotten, and I've played like 30 hours probably. Honor Ring main over here. Any recs on which Persona to start on? I do have Game Pass. You should just play Persona 5. You should just play Persona 5. And if you really like that, then you can play Persona 3 and then play Persona 4 Golden or not Golden, Revival when it comes out in February. But Persona, if you like Persona 5, you'll definitely like Persona 6, even though the game's not out yet. I just know it's gonna be good. Looks tougher than I thought, but ain't nothing stopping me.
I'm itching for some action.
Bruh.
Nice reflexes, Yukari-chan.
Now's the time. All right.
Source, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
And with this, you're finished.
That did no damage.
I guess the best
Yo, these guys are freaking broken.
Bring it on! Eat this! And take that!
evasive maneuver. Great dodge, Junpei-kun.
Let's go. All right, moving stream to the second monitor while I throw on deadlock time. Heck yeah, Roxas. Persona 5 would be game of the year if you threw Romance the Doctor. It would be.
2 enemies down.
Let's see.
I'm ready.
Do it. Yeah. Let's see.
Bruh. Bruh, please.
Persona!
That did nothing.
I'll show you my power. Wind isn't good on this one. It is time. We'll have to try something else. Persona!
Fatal End? There's no way. Ooh.
Nice reflexes, Yukari-chan. In this situation. Eo!
Go ahead and just heal everybody up because they all just keep attacking.
Close.
Tough luck. You've done
Yeah, that
it.
agility going crazy.
This one.
What's the plan?
Wind isn't good on this one. You'll have to try something
Let's
else.
see. Suck on that!
I think Ice might be good.
You dodged it. Thanks, our leader.
I knew it.
The enemy.
One down. Show me something.
Only 2 left. You've got this.
No, that's not what I wanted to do.
Damage inflicted. My head is spinning.
What the heck?
Should I scan on this enemy?
Heal everybody.
Yes.
Even though we're about to kill them.
Yukari-chan's confused. Oh no, she's acting on her own.
Can't stop me now. Let's go! One more to go!
That's 1 fewer enemy. Keep it up, Junpei-kun.
You clap.
All enemies defeated. Good work out there.
Oh yeah! New move!
Running it down on Scion right now. Scion? Holy. A medium fire damage to one foe. Well, that's better than regular counter, which is pretty good.
Greetings.
Enemy defeated. Requesting our next directive. Let's keep exploring.
Yes.
Affirmative. Though Tartarus may be a colossal tower, with constant incremental progress, we will gradually reach our objective. A journey of 1,000 miles begins by first treading without fear, as they say. Hey, Igus, you sure know some unusual phrases. Where did you learn that about them? I have a daily academic regimen. Just the other day, Junpei taught me how to write the hakus. Oh my Tartarus, dark decrepit Tartarus, why are you so dull? Well, let's go ahead and heal him. That's
In
good.
the interest of everyone's safety, I will initiate contact with the enemy.
Oh my. Junpei just got a little bit stronger. Okay. But like Junpei's just gonna hurt.
Hey!
Slow these sandals, don't equip now. Let's see what they do first. Okay, let me look at the evasion on them. Nah, she's good the way she is. Actually, we'll put him on Igus right now. She don't have any type of buff. I can't put any shoes on. Okay, she's just nerfing my squad. You're literally nerfing my squad.
All right, squad, move out. What even is this so-called potential? Like, it's only ever useful here.
Lock in every game right now. Wait, is Lock out, Shark? Is Lock out yet?
It's a strong one. Be on your guard. I have to do this.
Yes? Oh, I might have to play the game.
What's the plan? Persona! Friggin' way!
Block.
What to do?
Come!
It's not weak to win.
What is optimal?
There it is.
Let's commence with a kill. It's no prisoner.
Holy.
They are finished.
That's crazy. Target neutralized. Can't she just
That
leveled
was a
up?
spectacular finish.
That was really good. Okay, after stream, I'm definitely gonna watch some Lock gameplay.
Oh, stairs!
I need to. Would you like to play? No.
Come on, party people!
Nobody would ever watch me play League of Legends. I tried playing League of Legends for years. Not a single soul watched me.
Leave the front lines to
I
me.
don't think it's ever worth it. I don't think I should ever do that.
There's a shadow!
Down the stairs!
That'll do.
Um,
What is this? It's different from any response I've gotten until now. It's shrouded. Doesn't seem like a shadow. It's larger and seems almost like a wall. take a closer look. Okay, then going by the signal I'm getting, it shouldn't be far from you. Okay, a wall. Don't tell me we got puzzles now.
Treasure chest identified. Will you open it?
I will. I don't think she's ever gonna sound more human. I think she's just gonna continue to sound like this.
Dude, ain't that a rare check?
Enemy detected. We've got the upper hand. I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
I'll go with.
Jack-o'-lantern!
Come on, hit. Of course.
Pull the trigger. Now's the time.
You're just never gonna do anything but hate to break it.
What's next?
There's 2 knockdowns by Junpei-kun.
Yeah, we're gonna use that thing again, so you die, right?
Looks like you can target a weakness.
Oh, it works.
The enemy.
Get him out of here. How much extra XP is that gonna give me? I feel like the XP you get from these is like actually LARP. Whoa, that was 1,000. Hold on, that might not be bad. That might not be bad. Maybe, perchance, per maybe. Maybe per maybe. Maybe per maybe. I'm not going this way. There it is. The heck? Is this a door? Could you please get a little closer to it for me? What the heck's happening here?
Uh-huh.
Mysterious reading seems to be coming from this door. Could this be the door Elizabeth was talking? I didn't see what she said. I should check it out. Seems shadows beyond the door as well. If you plan on entering, please proceed with caution. All right. Okay, please go ahead and open the door. What if I don't want to open the door? This looks dangerous. Place is different. It feels different in here compared to outside. The atmosphere is unstable and the walls look like they're rippling. My powers aren't working very well here. I can at least tell that it's not a very large area, but please be careful. Should we be fighting this dude? I checked the shadow head. It seems to be a very powerful one. Looks like we have no choice but to fight it if we want to keep going. I'm ready.
Leader.
Enemies within range. Commencing battle?
Entering enemy.
In this situation,
Got hit.
Hikari-chan's been poisoned. Do you have an antidote?
Now face reality, never be charity. The enemy.
What's next?
Society. Mom's not here, gotta fight all night. Right here, shadow 10 o'clock direction. Seize the moment.
49.
I'll show you my power. Palladium. You're poisoned. Keep an eye on your health.
I have to do this.
Not poison though.
Use an item.
bed.
Wow, no one got hit.
I'm using this.
Icus is poisoned. He's losing health. This should work.
Okay, now let's try to fight this dude a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. No, perfect. Yeah, for sure.
Should I stand on this enemy? Okay.
Weak to fire!
Amazing!
Pull the trigger.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's good heals. Miss everybody.
Detected. Careful, Jinbei-kun. Your defense is low.
Can't let this
Go ahead and take that. Go ahead and kill this dude.
Very skilled.
Let's kick some ass. Here's done for.
3 damage. Don't use any of my SP. 200.
Careful, Jinbei-kun. Your defense is low. Persona.
Let's see if this works. Okay, you blocked that. Perfect.
In this situation,
Pull the trigger.
They just keep his accuracy down so he keeps missing. Oh, you can't get up?
Let's see.
Well, allow me to hurt you a little bit more.
that hit a weakness. It is time. Jinbei-kun. This is my duty.
I'll go with.
Looks like fire will work great.
What to do?
Let's see.
Now's the time.
I've already scanned this one. That's a really
There we go.
easy. Good job, everyone.
There we go. Looking, yo, it's already about to be 12. Yo, chat, what the heck? Level 29, baby. Buffalo. What up with me more than usual during battle? Huh?
Okay.
I don't sense any more enemies around. Okay, there's a treasure chest further ahead. I wonder if that shadow was guarding this. I don't think we've run into one like this before. Please inspect it. Okay. Ooh, let's get this one first. Onyx. Nihil blade. It looks like what the chairman gave you before, doesn't it? It's apparently really rare. I'm surprised to see it in a place like this. Maybe the owner of the antique shop would craft into a piece of equipment for me. Looks like you've seen everything here. Good job. I think it's a good time to leave now. Please exit through the door. Okay, so that's like a mini boss to get an item to get like a really good weapon for your squad, I think. Okay, next time we can teleport away, we're going to, since it's 12 already. Bro, the time went by so fast today. Whoa. What was that? It's like the energy from the door surged through the entire floor. Oh, I can see the floor layout. That makes it easier for me to guide you now. Sometimes a monad door will appear in Tartarus. Defeating the special enemy side will trigger a special shuffle time where major arcana cards appear more frequently. Defeating the special enemies will also reveal the layout of the current floor and the floor directly above it once you exit through the door. Oh! Monad door is an unstable contraption. When one appears on the floor, the door will lose power and become inaccessible if you move to another floor. Either you return using the teleporter on the same day. Okay. Can you please return here? I'd like to go through what we know about that door. Luckily, there seems to be a teleporter nearby. Sure thing. Thank you. I'll be waiting at the entrance. Okay, we go to the teleporter and then Bazinga.
I spy some treasure.
Okay.
Alright, do this!
Strike attacks are no good here. Be careful. Looks like fire will work great. Pull the trigger. Help me.
We'll do this.
You have a skill that can hit a weakness.
Get out of here.
The leader took one out.
Loving about behind my back. Let's go ahead and just get these guys out of here, bro. F it. So we can get to the next floor and get out of here. For apologies.
Well executed.
That didn't work? Are we sure?
I'm still setting up. It'll take a little more time.
See you later.
Her leader took one out.
Let's see.
That hit a weakness. You did it, Junpei Captain. One more.
Hey.
It's defeated. Good work out there.
Shovel time.
And that's a wrap, folks.
Mabufu. Okay. Okay, to go up, we go this way. Straight ahead, full steam.
Huh?
Please wait, there are only stairs up ahead. I think we should figure out what's going on, so please come back for now.
Huh?
Are you freaking serious, bro? Are you serious right now? Hey, what's up? WTF? Why are we WTF?
Dude, ain't that a rare chest?
I would like to get this ain't deadlocked. Wait, am I not in the Persona category? I might not be in the Persona category. Oh, dang it. Oh, I messed up. I thought I switched the category. Oh, well. Sorry for not being in the correct category. You are not on that category, brother. My bad. The good thing is that I'm almost done. Sorry for not being in the right category. I'm not leading people astray. Okay, I was still gonna watch. Yo, W. W Yorkshire, man.
We beat them to
Okay.
a pulp as they.
Ooh, well, snuff stoves actually aren't that good anymore. I gotta take the teleporter, I guess. Freaking goobers. Okay. Looking at others are talking about the door from earlier.
If I may say so.
May I borrow you for a moment? What's good? What's good, gang? It would appear you faced the threat beyond that door. A door connecting the tunnel which was created within Tartarus. Perhaps an appropriate name for it would be a monad door. The shadows that congregate past such doors will prove to be valuable means of accelerating your growth. I must know how you fared. Did your enemy provide you with a challenge? There's a rough fight. They went down easy.
Marvelous.
Excellent. I'm pleasant to hear that. I believe challenging more daunting foes will act as a sort of shortcut in your development. On another note, I have detected some sort of structure on the 91st floor. It emanates an energy dissimilar to the door you entered. Dissimilar, not similar to the door you entered. The dimensions of the structure resemble a tunnel. One might call it a monad passage. Entering this passage may provide you with another opportunity to test your mettle. For the time being, I will log that investigation as a personal request. Okay, damn, you still up? For a little bit longer.
Very well then.
For the no progress. On a door in the passage to Tartarus is never going to stop being a mystery to me. About that door, it appears to lead to a side path in Tartarus. In short, if you're heading for the top, taking that path would be considered a detour of sorts. However, it seems like you'll be able to obtain something down that path that should prove helpful to exploring. Depending on how prepared you are, it may be a good idea to try these doors. Alright.
Good day. Are you accepting a wonderful?
Ooh, wonderful. With the acquisition of the sugar key, you can now fuse King Frost and...
Most excellent.
Nice. Well, let me get King Frost if possible.
Very well then.
Hold on. Let's see if we can get King Frost real quick. Can I hit in spirit? No, 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 no. You can bust on your own time, but don't bust at me. Let's see if I can get King Frost real quick. Let's go.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. Fusion.
Are you in?
Well then, shall we take a look?
Power.
This persona. Yes?
Bro, I can't make Jack Frost, dude. Are we a cereal right now? Wait. I got.
This is your progress so far. Please take a look. You are already carrying that one.
I already have Jack Frost?
This person. You are already carrying that one.
How the heck am I gonna make... Oh, my controller disconnected.
Ah, have you all the elements?
Are you satisfied with this?
I don't think I am satisfied with this. Looks pretty lame to me. Well, I don't know how to fuse Jack Frost, so... I mean, King Frost.
We look.
Thoughts and prayers, but like sexually. What? Bro, what? What are you saying to me, bro? What are you on about? We're gonna call it there, though, chat. We got to level 29. Went up 3 ranks. 3 levels. The time went by fast today. Maybe I started a little later, but hey, a run is a run. We did good. We did